Hello and welcome. This is Self-Control, How to Build a Better Life, the podcast that aspires to inspire you to take control of your mind and your mindset to go forward and build the life that you want to live. My name is Patrick Strevens. Through this show, you and I will go on a journey together. It's a journey to peace of mind. I'll share things, tips, tricks, thought processes, behaviors that have improved my life over the years. More importantly, I want to hear from others who are doing the same. Could even be you. I think conversation is a great way to build a better life for one another. And that continues today. This is part 2 of my conversation with the blind Charity, a young woman living and working in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. A brain injury at the age of 14 left her with a greatly reduced visual field. She refers to herself as blind and brain injured. Please check out part 1 of our conversation. You can do so in the episodes above. Now, going forward in this episode, things got a little steamier, let's say. We talked about her time as a sex worker. We talked about how she was banned from TikTok numerous times. We talked some more about disability awareness and what that looks like going forward in the next 10 years. We also talked about the difference between creating and consuming media and how respect can be lost on both ends of that spectrum when we choose to either create or consume content. Can we change that? Is it possible? Does sex work, does media creation perhaps offer a certain amount of agency for the creator? What does it offer the consumer? And then wrapping up, surprisingly, we ended up somewhere I wasn't totally prepared for. We talked about the hormonal apocalypse of our time, the way in which nutrition and pharmaceuticals take a great toll on our body. As well, we spoke about birth control and abortion. These are huge issues. There is no one size fits all. There's no silver bullet. But I found them timely because there are ways in which large social forces such as government, such as big corporations, who don't always have our best interests in mind, take over control of our body if we let them. And I think if you've come to this show in the hopes of building a better life, we can think about the ways in which we have lost control of our body and how we may reclaim that. I do think education and understanding would be the first step in that. So I hope you find the end of this conversation somewhat productive, or at least it leads you to do further research into how you can take control of your health. I think beyond that, I want you to think about a moment in this conversation where Charity talks about mindfully challenging people's perspectives. What does that mean? What does it mean to mindfully challenge your own perspectives? She spoke in the first episode about how many people just aren't aware of what it means to be disabled. Well, not being aware of things is understandable to a point, but it can't be acceptable for long, especially if you're on the quest for a better life. So let's think about that. How can we retake control of our body? And how can we retake control of our mind to challenge what we think we know or what we think we think? Enjoy this one. It was a lot of fun. We've got a couple more great guests lined up to finish off the year. In the meantime, remember, better is possible, and enjoy this, the finale to my conversation with blind Charity. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a little bit about, I know you were now 5 times banned from TikTok or 4 times banned?
Yeah, 4 times. 4 times.
Are we going for number 5 or?
I think I may. I've been really, honestly, TikTok's a really cool platform, and just the sense of the algorithm and how it goes out there. But I love making that type of content. I think my sense of humor really translates well on the platform. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, I definitely think I'm going to go for 5.0, but nice. Yeah. And I think I'm my plan for it, I'm kind of strategizing, is I want to do a lot of catching people off guard in public content and straight on asking people.
Really?
So, and then I love doing that. So I just want to, just walk up to people and be like, so if you could guess what disability I have, what would be, things like that. Or ask people blind questions, be just, I'm blind. I think that would be really cool. And once again, I think a really cool way of educating people. TikTok 5.0.
There you go.
Coming to you.
Well, hey, I'm a videographer by trade. If you want to go out someday and shoot on the street and harass people, I'd be down.
Hell yeah.
I don't mean to shoehorn this in here because I'm going to sound like a dude, but you told me that you did at one time do dancing proper, exotic dancing.
Yeah. Sex work.
Okay, is that what we're going with?
Yeah,
Is that
you can say sex work.
Sex work.
I'd say stripping is considered sex work.
Okay. I guess
Yeah.
I wanted to get to this a lot sooner, but I'm getting to it now. It's like,
I have so much to say. I told you
well,
this.
that's right. That's right. I can't believe we're into it for an hour already.
Yeah, see?
And energy wise, you're okay to go for a little bit yet?
Yeah. Thank you for asking.
The decision on your part to get into sex work in whatever capacity, that obviously came after your injury.
Yeah.
But
Let's hope so. Jeez.
Okay, as I was saying it, I realized it was a stupid thing to say. But where did that come? Like, do you ever go deep down and say, well, where did that come from? And like, what need was that fulfilling for you?
Well, I think the need that was fulfilling was employment.
Okay.
So like even just like once again the statistics of blindness, like it's just like yeah, like I can have all these credentials and stuff, but then the second I walk through the door and I'm the blind girl. Well, so there's some stats that were done. Just like 71% of employers have said that if they have equally qualified candidates, one that's blind, one that's not, they're going for the not blind person. So as you can imagine, that would kind of mean that constantly I'm getting sent out, to the point that actually in my we'll call it personal professional life, I use a fake name on a lot of my resumes purely for the fact that my real name is, I had a very public career with that name as well. And so you can find out that I'm blind in a second from that. So on a resume, I'm like, okay, we'll have to go with a different name for that too. So a lot of different things. So that's definitely what pushed me into it. And yeah, just the ability to kind of like make my own terms is, I don't have to ask for accommodations. I do them myself. I don't have to, like, there's just so much more like control and less dependence on someone to not be a ableist asshole. And I love that. And that kind of goes to the same thing of like, I can choose when I turn it on and turn it off. So yeah, even like I've been out of sex work for a few months now, and I genuinely miss it. I genuinely miss it because of those reasons.
That's interesting. And it kind of does go back to the first thing we were talking about, and the thing that Walter taught me is that it gave you back some control of your body, didn't it?
Totally. So much control in so many different aspects, and who I am and who I wanted to be, and everything was in my control. And I think that's something that is very desired by a lot of people, but I definitely think by a lot of women. And I think it's also desired by a lot of disabled people. Like in the sex work industry, there's a large portion of people who have disabilities, whether those be mental health issues, whether those be physical disabilities or chronic illness. A lot of those things are really integrated into the sex work world.
So it strikes me that maybe like OnlyFans or stripping, dancing live, streaming on Twitch, it's all kind of the same thing in a way, isn't it?
Totally. No, it's definitely all the same thing. And it's definitely something that I've always loved. And it's something that I also like love for so many different reasons. Like whether it be, I just have such a love for video creation and content creation. Nice. And so that's where like OnlyFans, like I love that. I love the fact that I can build a community. On Twitch, it's the same thing. It's community. It's the fact that I can perform. I've been a performer since I was 6 years old. Like I love it. I love to do that. And then there's also the side that I love to be an advocate. I love to educate people. I love to bring awareness. Okay, well, I can do that in this context too. And I'm also someone who really strives for people to feel comfortable in their own skin and in their sexuality. And that's something I can also do in that line of work. And so it's just like, there's so many parts of it that I just have such a love for. It is unfortunate that there is so much shittiness and shadiness that goes on in the industry. But at the same time, there's like so much beauty, and I'm happy I can at least like even like vocalize that, because I think there's so much stigma in it, and thinking that like all these people are victims for getting into it. And it's like, well, actually it's like, here you've got like someone who's out of it, and I'm saying I miss it. So What does that have to say? You know?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's that you're right about the stigma, it's like we would all assume that you're doing it against your will because it's like you're trying to fill obviously you're getting something out of it, but it's like, oh, who hurt her, that she feels the need to go show off like that. But
oh, this poor blind girl, she doesn't have any choices. She's got to go out. Exactly. And it's like, God. But then what's so funny too is like people will have that narrative, but then they won't acknowledge like the employment issues. Right. So like they'll look at this one side of it that like fulfills their like pity narrative, but it's not looking at like taking a reflective look to be like, maybe actually I hire people. So maybe I should think about actually hiring these people. You know what I mean? Like it's picking and choosing when people want to use the narrative. So
isn't that the case? That's very funny. Yeah. This poor blind girl stripping for money.
There's a reason I call myself charity. Okay. Donate to charity. It's like you gotta go for it. So that's always been my line. You walk up to someone, you want to donate to charity. So
that's pretty good.
I'm pretty funny. Like I just gotta say, I'm pretty funny.
You've got a good sense of humor. The first time I saw your page, I thought it was a charity. So you got me. I was like, oh, this is great.
That's why my whole tagline is it's the charitable service that benefits one blind girl and therefore the world. Like it's all part of it. I want people to think that it is a charity because it kind of is.
It's a very Zen way of looking at the world. It's like it helps me, so thereby it helps everything.
Exactly. And also maybe like a little bit of like sounding like a God complex, but
I mean, look. You don't think that I go after guests that I think are going to benefit my show? Like you got to serve yourself too.
100%. And as you should. And I think as like anyone actually in the artistic world, more further than artistic, just in any sort of creation. Cause I can say there's a lot of like tradespeople who like make stuff and aren't respected for their craft or their creation. But people don't want to say, oh, if you're creating something, like you're not allowed to want to like monetize on it. You're not allowed to want to like actually benefit from anything because you just have to create it just because you want to create it. That's the thought process behind things with people.
Oh, sometimes for sure. It's like, you ever think about how much labor went into creating all the shit on Netflix? Like there's hundreds of thousands of hours.
Right. Or just like literally everything. Like it's every single billboard you see that's got marketing, design hours. Like it's got so much behind it. Every single commercial you see, every single, ad you see on TikTok, Instagram, on social media, like everything has so much creation behind it. So much creation. And independent creation deserves just as much clout and attention as, these big corporations.
Maybe more.
Definitely more.
Right.
I'm just trying to keep if Big Brother's watching, I'm trying to keep them happy.
Yeah, for sure. We really love the platforms that we are so privileged to get to use. But
thank you to your creator.
You're on a list for sure. I might be getting there.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm an ableist asshole, like what are kind of
at me.
Well, here we go. What are some what are some steps maybe that you see that the average person could take just to sort of get their head on right about your condition or about people that live like you?
Yeah, beautiful question. So for like disability awareness, so like for no one will know this or care about it, but July is actually Disability Pride Month, which once again no one will know about or care about. But
I'm all prided out. I can't. I just did June. I can't.
I know people don't care about us. It's just like the constant thing. We're the largest minority group that takes in everyone, and no one cares about it. It's fine.
Say it again. Say what you just said again. It's incredible. The largest minority group.
Largest minority group. Yeah. And like people with disabilities, like it doesn't matter like what race you are, it doesn't matter what sexuality you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter your socioeconomic background, you're going to be disabled. It is what it is. So it's the community that literally accepts everyone, but is seen by no one, which is once again, also very, very interesting.
That is so,
as far as,
yeah,
I know I'm just dropping some truth bombs over here.
Spitting fire. Yeah. Well,
what people can do, or like you as the ableist asshole, as you self-identify as, it can do is make a conscious effort for seeing disability.
Okay.
Don't try and look away from it. Look at it. Look at the problems that are contributing in the community and make changes. But just by making that conscious effort of being like, yeah, when you're walking, is there a down curb? You know, is there something, is there a sandwich board in the middle of the sidewalk? Is there, audible signals in the elevator? Does it say the floor out loud? All these aspects. Does the washroom have an accessible door opening? Is how wide is that door? Like all these things, it's just by seeing it. I think that's the biggest thing people can do to help the disabled community is just by seeing the disability, not hiding it. Don't look away from it. Look at how people are disabled by society, by the community, and by our intentional actions, because every single person is what creates society. Like that's what it is. Yeah. So we can create that change by looking at it. That's all it takes. And that's really all I urge people to do is just see it. Don't try and call it differently abled. Don't try and call it any sort of thing. Yeah. Just really be pointed about it. Be honest about it. Be intentional with it too. Yeah.
That's great advice. You're asking people to be mindful and actually see their world in a different way, which, I mean, good luck, but that,
I know.
You know, but
I know. I got to challenge people. I got to be like, oh, come on. Just look at it. Even if you don't have to look at it in a different way, just look at, I mean, I guess that is in a different way, but it's just like, I just want people to see these things, because the amount of things like, and I'm sure it's happened, you know, as I've been talking to you, you're like, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that. Definitely. Because there's so many things that people just don't see or think about, but they're all there. Like they're all there. I mean, even just like little things of being like every single social media platform has an option to add alt text, which is like, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, that's, you know, the descriptions, it's the textual description of an image.
Right.
You can add that in. You can literally add that in. And I understand it takes another step to posting, but instantly it just makes things more inclusive, like it just in a second, and it takes 5 seconds. It doesn't take much different changes. You're still writing a caption, you're still doing everything. It's there, boom. And now you've just and as from a marketing standpoint, actually I'll shout out a good restaurant in this aspect in Edmonton. So this would have been in 2017. Central Social Hall implemented Braille menus. Oh, and wow. So the owner of Central, and his standpoint was just that, why wouldn't I do it? I've got the CNIB that's just down the street, and so you've got to have blind people that want to go out, and guess where they're going to go? Where they can go. By making things accessible, it's making a brilliant marketing choice, because as I said, it's the largest minority group. So I'm telling you, like, if I have a place that I feel connected or feel welcome to, I'm going to be going there more. So, 100%. It's just, and once again, it's another way of looking at things.
It is.
But they took the choice to see it.
I wonder why. Yeah, that's great. I was at a place yesterday where I had to scan a QR code on my phone, and I ordered, there was not even a waiter. It was I'm living in the future. Well, or the
I think I know where you went to, or like maybe it's a different place and more places are doing it. But
on 105th Street.
Yeah.
And there's four places in one that are all mediocre.
Yes, exactly. And oh my God, I hate that place so much.
It's hell.
I hate that place.
It's hell on earth.
It's hell on earth. And you're paying for a tip, and you're like, why am I paying for a tip?
Yeah.
Walter and I went there.
Oh no.
Months ago, and we're both sitting there being like, what is this? What is this? Why is this? And is this really a good thing? And you have to create an account where they're selling that data. Like, they're selling it. Like, you're giving your name, you're giving your address, you're giving your email address, you're giving your phone number. Yeah. Oh, now you're giving your credit card information because you pay through that too. Like, it's just so much. I'm like, I'm selling so much to eat here.
Isn't that crazy? It's not a money laundering operation. It's a data laundering operation.
100%, which honestly, this is my conspiracy theory mind that's going to come out for a second.
Go.
That we're a data collecting society. That is what every corporation is about.
Yeah.
It's about collecting data. Be very smart about where you share your data. Make sure, like, if your location's on your phone, like, be smart about it, because now if you post that, then now that's all that information is everywhere. And there are companies, majority of them, if it's free, just know that it's not free. That's always the thing. And especially, this is circling back to an OnlyFans topic / sex work topic. Yeah, for everyone who says they don't want to pay for porn, just know that Pornhub is you're paying for it. You're just paying for it with your advertisements and your data. And so there is a reason that they know what is the most watched videos at the end of the year and from which region. It's because they have your data. Oh. So yeah.
And they know
Step bro, I'm stuck. More like step bro, your data's out there.
And what's up with that, by the way? The family porn.
Listen, I can't explain that. I'm a blind girl. I'm not their target audience. I'm not a consumer.
No, that's fair. I quit looking at porn completely.
Oh, good for you.
My life is so much better. Like miles.
I would imagine it is. I know this is probably not something I should say because it goes against a lot of my friends and community members. But yeah, consuming less sexuality is always going to be a good thing for people, because just like anything, it's a dopamine rush, and it can be addictive and give a wrongful perception of what's going on in the situation. So
that's well said. But it's funny. I mean, you can say that all you want. It's like your friends are still going to get paid.
I hope so. I hope so. And if I venture back into that area, I hope I do too. So, consume it, but responsibly.
Sure. I think I can advocate responsible consumption of it. I had to go cold turkey because it was, maybe I went way too far.
But a lot of people do. And a lot of people do need to go cold turkey. And I think it creates more of like the connection back to like yourself, and really what I advocate that like sexuality is. It's about like the connectivity of people. And so the second that you're disconnected from people and you're just connected with sexuality, then you're kind of missing the point. 100%. And I do think it distorts some belief systems on how it should be.
That's a good point. But I would ask you, if we got a few more minutes, as a producer, like there's a divide between producing and consuming content. Like as someone who produces it, do you ever look down upon your consumers, or is it, you know what I mean? Like, could there be that where it's like, you little minions come running,
that's a whole kink in itself.
Oh no.
But no, I don't think I do. I think I think I'm a little bit different in this area than a lot of people in the industry. It's hard to say, but for myself, I hate the terminology simp. I hate it more than anything. I'm very, very protective and defensive over my community. I'm very, very protective or defensive over anyone who's ever supported me.
Sure.
In any sort of aspect. Never look down, because without those people, our industry doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And that, once again, I think you just need to have respect for it. And if I want respect from my consumers, my subscribers, my audience, whatever, I want to make sure that I'm giving it back, and so that's always been like a really big thing that I've stood by. And I do think is why, generally speaking, I do think I have one of the best communities. I do think I've had very little scams happen in my life, which I'm very grateful for, because I hear some horror stories from girls, and I can only think that it's because if you treat your people like they're disposable, then they're going to treat you like you're disposable. And my people I've had around for years. And I don't want that to ever change. So they're my charity cases.
There you go. Is that really what they're called? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them you're donating well, I mean, you're not donating, you're getting paid, but you're giving them something they maybe can't get elsewhere for whatever reason.
100%. And I think like the biggest thing of like what I always provided, other than just disability representation and hilarious jokes and memes,
There we go.
I think I created just like a safe space for people to talk and be themselves. And I think that's always been what my selling feature, if you will, is just the fact that people can come to me, and I'm not going to judge you for where you come from. I'm not going to judge you for why you're there. I want to hear why you're there, and I want to spend that time to like get to know and talk to different people. I love even like with dancing, like I'm a repeat person. I'm not the just, stage booty girl that's, going to get some coins thrown at her. It's going to be about connection and spending time together and talking to each other. And that's what works for me. And that's what the motto I like to go with.
Yeah.
And, I've been mentored by a lot of people in the industry that have hundreds of thousands of followers and fans. And we don't follow the same models, and it's because there's different strokes for different folks, literally and figuratively.
Well said. So just as when you were 14 and this happened to you, you probably couldn't have imagined where you would be today.
What a weird segue.
Well,
but yeah.
Look, I'm trying to wrap this fucking thing up, but
okay, fair enough.
No kidding. So you're stripped. Anyway, so when you were 14.
So when you were 14,
listen,
let me hear about it.
Okay. Just as when you were 18 and of legal age, and you couldn't imagine that you'd be, doing something like this or building your community as you do. What does it look like in 10 years from now to you? Just for your brand or what you would impact,
Yeah, I mean, here's going to be maybe like the bleak part of it. I don't think it'll be much different.
Mm-hmm.
I think that ableism will continue. And I think that the change that I am asking people to do is, I don't know, it'd be nice, but I don't expect it. But it would be nice. So I see that in 10 years, it's kind of going to be the same stuff. It's just going to be a little bit different. I mean, technology is constantly changing. So I imagine technological changes will be significantly different, where therefore my brand will be significantly different. But I mean, I think that I will always be someone who is advocating, who is always trying to make the change, and who's always going to try to have people see what they don't want to see. I'm just going to throw it in your face, whether you like it or not. And that's just who I am and will always be, whether it be talking about sports, whether it be talking about disability, whether it be talking about my political opinions, all those things, I'm going to keep throwing them out there. And I can't see that changing anytime in my lifespan. So yeah.
Oh, I think you're probably right. People aren't going to change, but you have to keep pushing, right? Now,
I think so.
You have a day job like downtown somewhere, is that right?
Yep. Yes.
We don't have to get into it, but do you see do you see a world where you're full-time doing your advocacy and content creation and stuff, or is that a reality?
I mean, that's what I did. What I did.
Yeah.
For a long time. And then I could definitely experience some burnout and just wanted some 9-to-5 stability. And then I've been in some 9-to-5 stability and literally hate it.
Oh, you hate it?
Yeah.
It's also hell on earth, isn't it?
It is. It's a different kind of hell on earth.
A different circle of hell. Yeah.
Exactly. But I love the creation. I love creating. And and I love connecting. And I think in a corporate world, I just can't do that in the same way that I'd like to. I'm also so driven on becoming a mother though.
Oh.
So that's definitely my 10-year focus is I'm just I hope I'm just raising some dope kiddos and
hey, right
making them the heart. I just even think I think about so much about just what it would be like being a blind mother. It gets me in my head a lot. But
would you like to share? Would you like to share a moment of that? Because that's the question. Obviously, I'm going to ask because I'm really intuitive. But what's that like? How does that go?
I don't know what it'll be like. But it's definitely I won't be able to use a stroller. So how am I going to navigate that? Like it's all those different things that I'm going to have to learn to navigate
Yeah.
in a different way of how can I keep an eye out for, a running around baby when I can't see them? How am I going to make sure that like all those things are going to have to be different than how a sighted person would do them? And I really look forward to learning those things and know that I can adapt and change. And I think blind people, of course, can adapt and change. And there's many amazing children that have come from blind parents. But yeah, I don't know what it'll be like, but I hope I'll find out one day.
I hope you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's, yeah, I mean, that kind of ends my train of thought.
The stroller thing is like the biggest thing for me. I'm like, it's the stroller.
What are you gonna do?
I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm gonna be carrying this kid on my chest, like with one of those like backpacks.
Right.
Well, I guess it would be a chest pack or a backpack once they're older.
Right.
But yeah, like it'll always be like on me. Which also, like, how is that going to be? Like, could that arguably help postpartum depression? I'm not sure. I have so many questions.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid you have triplets. Like, at least if you had two, you could strap them to you back and front. But
oh my God, I would, if I could just have like even like twins, like if I could just have like one kid at a time, that would be a great like easing in for me to like learn about it, But knowing my luck with the world, we'll see what happens.
Well, let me ask you, because I know some women that are driven to become mothers like you, and I know some that are the opposite. Can you put into words where that desire comes from, or is it just unconscious? You can't.
I have wanted to be a mother since I was like 15. I have just like had such a strong maternal drive always in me. And so where it comes from, I have no idea. I mean, I definitely think it comes from like a hormonal standpoint. Like I definitely think the fact that, I'll be like turning 29. I'm like, okay, like now is the time, like it's go time.
Right.
Like we're finding a mate. We are focused on that goal.
Right.
But it's, I don't know where it comes from. It's kind of like a beautiful mystery of humanity. And probably more than just humanity, just life in general. It's like procreation. Like, where does that come from? Why do some people want and some people don't? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think you're on it with the hormones. Could be one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's the hobby of mine, is I love learning about like hormonal health. I do so much readings on it and reproductive health. I am such a nerd for all this stuff.
Interesting.
So that could be a whole other thing I could talk to you about for like 5 hours. So like, well,
maybe
fair warning.
I mean, I got nothing to do.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
All my thoughts on reproductive health. Yeah. I think birth control is the enemy. Controlled by big pharma, and like that's where, once again, conspiracy theories are gonna all swarm in.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't.
Yeah, right. Like it's insane, and just like I was on birth control for like 9 years of my life, and then I got off of it, and it was like,
what changed?
Wow, everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything changed. My libido changed, my weight changed, my skin changed, my fatigue changed, like everything changed. That's where it's so crazy. It's so crazy. And then started just like looking more into things, and then learning about, how birth controls are created, and what, hormones they're putting into our system, and how that then impacts our cortisol responses, which is our stress hormone. Wow. So then you have people that are like more stressed out, and also just like, depending on different stages of your cycle, you're attracted to different people. And so people that start on birth control and get married, there's more divorce rates when they go off of it. Oh, it's insane. It's insane. It is insane. And I love it. And I'm just, I could give so many good book recommendations, but like, I'll just drop one, which is Your Brain on Birth Control. And I forget her name, who wrote it. But she's got like an amazing TED Talk. And so I like, it's summarizes the whole book into kind of like a 5-minute TED Talk. And it's really, really cool. It's fascinating.
But
it's scary.
It's very dark, right? Like if you think about what the implications are here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I even think that the way that the state of men is also a hormonal issue.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. I mean, that even goes into like this book I'm talking about, even breaks down how with men, when men are spend more time around like children, like their testosterone levels lower. And that's like a natural good thing to happen. But it is because you're not trying to focus on the procreation. You need the testosterone. How our hormones are impacted, I think, yeah, definitely impacts men and women so much. And is definitely a neglected area of our medical system. Yeah, I have 3 brothers. I am the only girl in my family. So I am very like, I probably know more about men than I do about women, to be honest, which is a little weird. Especially given like who I am. But yeah.
I don't know if that's weird. I mean, do you think it's weird?
I think it's a little weird.
Okay, it's weird.
I think it's a little weird. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just, maybe it's not weird because it's like, yeah, what someone would expect because it's the opposite. I have no idea.
Well, it's people will really surprise you on what the hell they think about you. You know.
That's very true. It's very true.
I think that all this birth control, now is this crazy? This is what gets me ended. All that birth control that's being consumed is being excreted into the water supply. No.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess in theory, right? Because there's a lot of like hormones that are in like urine. So arguably, yeah, and spit. So yeah, you're not wrong with that. That's an area of it that I never even thought about.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to start thinking.
Think about that. And then I don't know. I'm not going to go like full Alex Jones and say it's turning the frogs gay, but
yeah,
there's got to be, it's a hormonal apocalypse that's going on in our culture today.
Oh, I totally agree with that too. And I think that goes into like, I think psychologically why there's more like psychological issues. I think it goes into weight. And I think that's why there's more obesity. I think that's why, yeah, just so many different things, because hormones literally are what create humans. Like hormones are everything.
Right.
You know, it's so funny always to me when they're like, people say like, oh, you know, the woman's being like hormonal. It's her time of the month and stuff. I'm like, this makes no sense. Like you realize like people are hormonal literally all the time. Like,
right.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did you know, like,
yeah.
I haven't heard that in a while either, but that used to be a thing. Like people said all the time. So maybe there are some positive changes that are created by woke culture. I don't know.
Maybe
we just had a moment.
I'll give you that. Yeah. We can chalk one up for the woke culture.
Yeah, exactly. It's like woke culture. All right. You got that.
But only to have then totally plastered over the fact that we're all hormonally fucked.
Yes, exactly. And we're just going to like keep consuming like hormones in unnatural ways. And yeah, that's I guess the biggest way. Yeah.
Yes. And we eat like shit. Your hormones are not.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like we eat differently, we like sleep differently, like how much you exercise, like all these different things. I'm sure technology plays a large role in like where these hormones are coming from. You know, as we were talking about just with porn and like porn consumption, I'm sure that, you know, jacks up with hormonal health, so many different things. And it's always have questions why our medical system doesn't care about hormones. It's always been something that's really interested to me. I have been trying to get my hormone levels tested for 10 years.
And they won't do it?
We're going to keep that battle up. Yeah.
They won't do it? You can't do it?
No, it's always just like, oh, go on birth control. Just do this. Just
go on birth control. Yeah, that's the solution.
The amount of times that I've just been told to just go on birth control is, it's sad how often I hear it. And I'm just one person, and I know so many different women who hear the exact same thing. And it's just, it's insane.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Now you asked something about the medical system, and you want to talk about conspiracies. It's like you may say the modern medical system is not all that interested in really wellness per se.
No.
Not that it's not. I'm not going all the way with that, but there's instances like put a girl on birth control when she just wants to know where she's at.
Yeah.
What if I'm not fucking? I don't need birth control.
Exactly. Why is I'm having issues with my skin, go on birth control. Oh, I'm having issues with my like period cramps. Oh, yeah, no, it is. It really is. And I think it's I hate it so much.
Fair enough.
So much. I think it doesn't take into account how much birth control really impacts women's sexual desire. And which is, once again, people won't want to talk about that because women aren't supposed to have sexual desire. So like, what's the issue? You just want to you want to have sex to create. That's what it's all about, right?
You just finished saying you wanted to be a mom. What's the problem?
I want to be a mother, but like not everyone does. Right. And like, which even just goes into it too. So if I'm experiencing certain issues, why is birth control the solution? Because I want to have a child. I
want to birth. I don't want to control.
Yeah. I don't want to control it. Yeah. It's one of the areas I'm a pretty controlling person. I'm like, I don't want to control this. Like, let's just like let it be free.
Now, it affects the libido negatively. Like it makes you less sexually.
From my experience and a lot of other women's experiences, like I can't speak for everyone. I'm sure there's going to be someone like in the world that's like, horny. Exactly. That's what birth control makes me. But for sure. From my experience and everything. And before I like go fully into it, but it like makes sense. Like birth controls trick you into being not trick you, but make you have high progesterone rates, low estrogen rates. Estrogen is the hormone that's putting you through your system to conceive, and progesterone is the one that makes conception safe. So you aren't in desire mode when you're in that stage of your cycle. You're not. You're in desire mode when you're trying to conceive, which is before ovulation, which is when estrogen is in your system.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's good to know. It's good to know. Yeah. Now I wonder. Now that birth control, as we know it, comes from the sort of sexual revolution of the late 60s into the 70s. Yeah. Do you view, I mean, I did not expect to be here, so forgive me for what the hell I'm about to say, but do you view that as a positive shift in our society on the whole?
That's where the book talks about it too, about seeing how like birth control did give women so much sexual freedom. Like it really did. It created like a little bit more, equity in the world of sex for desire rather than for reproduction. Because a woman, the risks were so much, and as they're just higher than a man. Like you're going to get pregnant. Okay, well now you're out for, 9-10 months. And then, then you've got a whole other thing going on. So it's forever. Really? You can't really quit on that. So it gave women the same leg in their area. So I do think it's wonderful in that way. And it also makes women more able to, go to school, pursue careers and all that type of stuff, because they don't have to be like, oh shit, well now I'm pregnant. And now that changes everything. Because even you can be as responsible as possible and you can still get pregnant. So I love it in that aspect. I don't love it in the aspect of, how much harm it did. But I think that's kind of like anything that's really pushed out in big pharmas. Right. They don't look at long-term and the longevity of these solutions. It's kind of just like putting a Band-Aid on something without actually being like, but you got a broken leg.
Right. And I appreciate the sort of nuanced view of it, because it made me think that it in a way it cheapened sex, because it allowed people to have sex with, I mean, there's a consequence there, period.
Totally.
You can now say, well, I don't have to suffer the consequences. I would say, and I want to hear from you in 10 seconds so I can get my foot out of my mouth. But this raging against abortion, that's a symptom of that. I'm not going to tell someone to not get an abortion, but the fact that you want to use an abortion that way is a symptom of the sexual revolution, where we said, well, the consequences be damned. Have your fun. Yeah.
Like you're not wrong in that. It just goes into the whole, like, you can do everything right and it can still go wrong. So, and I guess it goes into like, how much are we going to say that like sex is only, because then it goes into like, then sex, the purpose would only be for reproduction.
Fair enough.
Which means that everyone should kind of have that standpoint, that it's only for the point of reproduction. If you have that point, then abortion wouldn't be an issue. And like that, it's basically promoting the idea of like celibacy, essentially. The only real form of birth control is celibacy.
Truly.
So,
And my understanding, like, celibacy is obviously not the way forward, because then you have to, or else you have to educate people completely on what sex is and then say celibacy is the only way. But we can't say celibacy is
Yeah, it's not going to work.
I don't.
It's not going to work.
It's never
not
going to
work. It's not going to work. You look at history a lot. It's not going to work as much as people will want. It also kill the sex work industry, which that's never going to happen either.
Right.
So,
and that would hit you in the pocketbook, and we'd hate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Or would it? Well, maybe it would.
Not currently.
Right. Well, okay.
I'm sure in the future it would in some type of way. I'm sure, and it would hurt because it would hurt so many people that I know that are still in that industry, and I don't want that for them.
Right.
So then it would impact me because then they're all going to be sad. So celibacy for no one.
Okay, I'm into that. I don't want to aggravate you here at the end, but can we put kind of a bow on the abortion thing that we didn't plan on talking about? But I mean, here's the thing: is like when they overturned Roe v. Wade, obviously there was a huge outcry. Yeah. But how do you come out on that? Because it seems like both sides yelling at each other how to behave, but it's like, isn't the individual sort of have to be responsible for themselves here?
I think if people are being responsible for themselves, I think, so my standpoint, and I understand like people that take that view, I'm so pro-abortion. I'm so pro-abortion. Okay. So I'll just put like that opinion straight out there. But I think that, there's so many things that impact a woman when she goes through that, physiologically, psychology wise, hormonally, literally everything. And it's something that never really goes away. And of course, there are going to be people who literally don't give a shit and aren't impacted that intensely. But speaking from personal experience, it destroys you. Okay. And that you can still think that you made the complete correct choice, but it still be with you every single day. And so it's not, it doesn't come without consequences. Right. Where I think then, which I will say from a men's perspective, I think it comes without consequences, which I think is where men can have like a different maybe standpoint and a little bit less like emotionally connected to it. Yep. Cause yeah, like that, yeah, I can't speak for everyone, but I can say like, it's something that's constantly, anyone that I know, it runs through their mind and it stays in their soul, a little piece for their entire life. So it's a hard decision. No doubt. And yeah, and thank you for sharing that. You're welcome. The realization that I had was that I don't truly have a dog in the fight. Like I don't have a daughter. I don't need an abortion. So yeah, insofar as I don't really care, I also cannot understand. And the realization of doing this podcast for a year and a half has been, I can't tell people what to do and I can't actually understand what it is to be somebody else. So just but stop fucking yelling about it, like just take on the responsibility of being a person. Yeah. And just, well, and that just goes into like government, let people be people. Let people be people. The government needs to have less control over things. I'm a complete anarchist. Let's go. Nice. Yeah. Really? Oh yeah. Oh, all the way, like tear it all down and. A little bit. I want to watch the world burn. But also I want to watch it burn just because I think there's rebirth in destruction. And I think that's kind of. I just believe in people having some sort of like more control over the self, and then that'll create more of a community. Yes. And I think like genuinely speaking too, like this is what I got from you, and I'll say I got from you from even this conversation too, is you definitely have your opinions, but you and I really admire this as a quality in people. Something I like to think that I possess is that even when people have differing opinions, you can still hear someone, and you don't have to prove everyone, which is really, really like cool and very like human thing. So, yeah, thank you for that. Well, hey, thank you for saying so. It's the only way to really get anywhere, isn't it? I think so. But I mean, the first 20 episodes of this show, I was looking for a fight for sure. But here we are on 112, and it's like, hey, just a little bit different. Just let her tell her story. It's actually way more fun and way easier, actually. Well, to just let people talk and then be like, I think you learn so much by doing that, and I think that's what makes people just like, the people that want to hear things. And I'm the same way. It sounds like to you is like I want to fight things all the time. But that's where it has to go into just like the choice of, knowing that sometimes you just kind of gotta nod your head.
That's right. Just let it
Yeah.
flow and nod your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I want to join the community and donate to the charity, what do I have to do? How do I get in the
there's
door?
no real way of donating to charity at the moment. I mean, we'll see once again where my social platforms go. If I go back to Twitch, if I go back to OnlyFans, if I go back to any of these different places or a completely different place, who knows? Or TikTok will happen. Because once again, I just think it's fun. But I mean, the biggest thing, that's my Instagram, I guess, is the place that I'm the most active. The blind charity.
Beauty.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not the CNIB, the blind charity.
Right. Yeah. No. We're not gonna hang up. We're gonna fake the goodbye and then stay on the line, and then you're gonna tell me about the CNIB. I hope.
Perfect. Perfect.
I won't record it.
Spill all the tea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Charity, thank you so much for today. This was,
thank you.
I mean, it was great. I'm glad we finally did it after all that.
Me too. After my life was all like chaos, so we got it done, and I'm happy we did as well. So totally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the chaos is more controllable these days?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I quit OnlyFans and I quit Twitch. So
that probably helped a lot.
It helped a lot.
All right. Well, we'll see you back on there someday, maybe though.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All righty. Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks so much, and God bless you if you're.
God bless the world.
Okay.
Namaste, Shambhala.
I'm leaving it there. Thank you. Thank you for watching this episode of Self-Control, How to Build a Better Life. Hope you enjoyed the finale to my conversation with Blind Charity. I hope it got you thinking about what it means to mindfully challenge our beliefs and how we might, in the face of larger social forces, take control of our own health. My name is Patrick Strevens. I look forward to talking with you all again soon. We've got some great guests lined up. In the meantime, remember, better is possible.